All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Real Music Observer. I'm Dave, observing real music in real time for real people just like you, right there. And this guy right here. All right, been talking a lot about Chicago lately. I'm going to continue. And I'm going to posit something. If you look at social media right now and the way people are responding to Peter Cetera and his latest forays into live concert music. Back in January, he was down here in Florida, and I have to say, very objectively, and as not a fan of Peter's resistance to anything Chicago, I just think he should just let it go. I get the whole divorce analogy, but, let's just say he should probably let that part of this go by now, but he hasn't. But in any event, he's killing it. He's just smoking it out there. I don't care if he's a step down. His voice is still rich. It's still pure. It's still powerful. And, listening to Peter, okay, and no offense to all the singers Chicago has had over the years, their current guy, especially right now, just doesn't do it for me. Just doesn't do it. And I've presented my case on that because you go from a bass player tenor, a tenor who at least is kind of in the range of possibility, to a guy with this big range who can sing it all but doesn't sound like anybody specifically. And whether he's trying to sing like a Terry Kath tune or a Cetera tune or whatever, okay? Thankfully, Robert Lamb is still with Chicago, so they don't have to have him singing things like Beginnings, because I wouldn't want to hear it. I'm glad Robert is there. Now, social media is starting to buzz in certain circles, both on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. More and more, I've been seeing comments like, now's the time to put Chicago back together again. Now's the time to do a big finale, a big farewell. Chicago's been at this for 51 years or 50 plus, whatever. They're in their 51st season touring, and Peter is out there doing a few dates. Now, couple of problems. Number one, Peter Cetera. Would he do it? Okay. Number two, would Chicago tour less but make real bank off of each performance and maybe record a live album, some new studio tracks with Peter, something? Also, rather than have Team Reyes on drums, you had Tris Imboden leave the band, and Danny Serafin is out there. Would you be willing to bring Danny back? Lou Pardini has had a great run, but maybe you bring Bill Champlin back. Now, do I think these guys would go for this? I don't know, but under the right circumstances, they might. Now, if you relate this to my last few videos, though, I'm concerned about this whole workplace environment, and I can't prove it. I don't have an exact circumstance or an exact incident that would lead me to believe that Chicago as a working environment, either something going on in the band or with the management, is causing these members to depart. I can tell you almost for a fact that scheduling, although a problem for the last two guys who left, scheduling may not have been the factor that led to their departure. Okay? However, I think you need to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Sorry for that. And the only way you can do it at this point is get Peter Cetera on board for one big last finale. Now, what I'm saying is maybe 2019, you finish off everybody's career, both Peter and Chicago. I mean, I think Peter will be 75, Robert Lamb will be like 75, something like that. Look, folks, I mean, I know they're trying to do the whole, what is it, Picasso or Van Gogh thing, and they're just going to keel over on stage. I don't think that's feasible. I think it's, let me see, it's admirable, but it's not feasible. And here's an opportunity. You bring Danny back on drums. At the very least, Bill probably isn't going to bite on this, but Bill would be a great addition, and I don't know if they'd want Lou to step aside. But I think Peter and Danny in this band for the final tour. Look, Danny showed up at the Hall of Fame and said some crazy things. He was very entertaining, by the way, where everybody else was very milquetoast. Danny had some colorful things to say. Reminds me of me. Good job, Danny Seraphin. This is it, folks. And social media, if you look at some of these videos that were uploaded from the Venetian in Vegas, where Chicago had residency, you're going to see the majority of comments where people say, oh no, this is now a cover band. This is a karaoke band. Now, do they watch my videos? I don't know. But the fact that a lot of people are saying the same thing that I'm saying, I think this train begins to, come off the tracks as soon as the novelty of the new singer fades and people realize that doesn't sound like Jason, doesn't sound like Jeff, and certainly doesn't sound anything like Peter Cetera. And at that point, why not, for a last hurrah, bring Peter back? Beg Peter, get down on your knees and grovel for Peter Cetera. I would. I know you guys are old and you're prideful and all that fun stuff, but hey, us fans, seeing Peter up there with the bass he's doing some cool songs in his set now. He's doing Love Me Tomorrow, which I hadn't heard him do in a while, and Wishing You Were Here. Imagine if you had, you don't have Terry, but maybe you bring Bill in to help with that, or if Bill doesn't bite, you have Lou and Peter. I think Bill and Peter had that awesome blend, and they both admit that they were great together. So these are all things to consider. I'm hoping that this video gets a lot of views, not just for my sake, but for the fact that the fans at this point of Chicago would love to see this. And I don't care what key you have to start the tune in to have Peter Cetera in the band. That's where I'm at with this. I'm not going to say, oh, well, he's just not what he once was. Really? Because his voice is in great shape for his age. And he's killing it no matter what octave, what key he's starting the song in. I'd rather hear him singing in that key than any of the singers. No offense to any of those guys, because they were all great up until the guy they've had now. The last two were great. I just would rather hear Peter. I mean, his voice is just so distinctive, and it's just awesome, all the material. Heck, they could go deep into the old catalog, and the fans would love it. All right, so that's my proposal. I'm throwing it out there. Circulate the video. Get your friends in on it. Send this to Peter Chiavarelli. It's time. Make the phone call, Peter. Peter, call the other Peter. Call the other management team and say, hey, what about this 2019? Let's both go out with a bang and make the fans truly happy. All right? There you go. Talk to you later, everybody, and have a great day.